I've been with Purina for about 20 years now. I've got a pretty extensive background. I was originally born in British Columbia, Canada. I was a big team roper up there. I wasn't quite 16 years old. I won about everything I could up in British Columbia. I jumped the fence when I was 6 months away from turning 16. Didn't get caught driving all the way down here, pulling a 34-foot trailer, blah, blah, blah. I won a lot of money. I've always bred, trained my own horses. Got really into the cutting horses and the rein cow horses. My last year down the road was 1982. Bought a brand new crew cab dually Chevy that year. Only person that drove it put 157,000 miles on it. Won 2 world titles, a little over 220,000. But I was getting 2 horses ready for Snapping Bit Futurity up in Reno. One of them could have been probably, still to this day, one of the best horses I ever had an opportunity to throw a leg over. And I crippled her 3 months before the futurity. You know, we were starting colts for these futurities, these 3-year-old events. We'd start off the year with 40 head. And man, the amount of horses that we crippled, the 2-year-olds, the 3-year-olds, getting them ready for these futurities and stuff, just criminal. Or we didn't cripple them, we just mentally scrambled their brains. And maybe sometimes you could get them back, sometimes you couldn't. But hey, I won a lot of money, so I kind of have a pretty good understanding. I don't care if you've got endurance, hunter jumpers, whatever, understand the horse background. So I'm not going to really kind of drag things out. Purina is a pretty cool company. I mean, we really suck at advertising, so there's going to be a lot of pretty cool things I'm going to be able to do with you guys today. We're still the largest rejecter of ingredients in the world. I mean, it's amazing. I work out of the Turlock, California plant. That's where the majority of the ingredients come from. And we're not prima donnas, but I mean, our standards are very tight. You know, corn from January to January, the bell curve on it, you know, with the protein levels, or aflatoxin. We're testing for everything. It's amazing how much corn we wind up rejecting. No big deal. Broker gets on the phone. Hey, right down there in this, you know, the valley, right where our plant is, there's like 5 major other plants. Well, they take a lot of that stuff that, you know, we reject. I guess they think we're prima donnas. It's going into their horse feeds. It's going into other things. Okay. Again, aflatoxin is not really a good thing. You know, kind of horses, you know, get the digestive upsets. We're calling a veterinarian. We don't want to be doing that. We've probably got 90 plants across the United States. I think right now we're still at 19 of them are ionophore free. Big deal? Yeah, kind of. It's amazing. Throughout the course of a year, year after year, a lot of these other big companies that are making a horse feed, they're making cattle feed. You get a lot of the ionophores that are commonly used in a lot of your cattle feeds to help with digestion, your Bovatec rumensin. 7 granules of rumensin, if it gets mixed in accidentally to a horse feed, you're going to be lucky if you have enough time to call a veterinarian. And usually if the veterinarian gets there, you're going to have to put that horse down. I was trying to get into a big thoroughbred facility here about 2.5 years ago, Legacy Ranch. They got high-end Kentucky Derby type thoroughbreds in Clements, California. There was a big feed company in there hey, the bigger you guys are, the harder it is to switch a program. Anyway, I got a phone call one day, and this outfit that they've been using for quite a long time, they got a bunch of ionophores in their horse feed, and on this one facility, just there, they killed 17 horses, and down in Southern California, there was a bunch more. Again, these big companies, what they'll generally do is they'll start making their cattle products with medications first thing in the morning. They get done with that, they'll go into their poultry feeds, make a run of that, they'll go into goat, rabbit, whatever, into the day they wind up making the horse feeds. And, you know, hopefully by then everything's flushed through the system. Our 19 plants, we are not allowed to have any kind of medications whatsoever. I mean, it's just quality controls are a huge part of what Purina does. And, you know, I buy a lot of competitive feed on a monthly basis. I'm not trying to figure out what other companies are trying to do, but it's nice being able to buy that competitive feed. Generally, everything's got a little tag on the bottom of the bag with a guaranteed analysis on there. And even you guys can, for $5, take a sample of your feed, whatever you're feeding, send it off and get it tested. And usually 7 to 10 days, you wind up getting results back. And it's amazing when I send competitive feed samples in, they're never close to what it matches on the bottom of the bag. Our feed, on a year-round basis, coast to coast, border to border. It's got to look the same. It's got to test the same. Doesn't matter what plant it's made in, because if you buy a bag here today, and you go to Fort Worth, Texas tomorrow, you want to buy a bag of Only 200 or a bag of Strategy, it's got to tag out exactly the same on a year-round basis. It's huge. And then the other thing we do is every single plant we have, all 90, we run metal detectors in the feed assembly lines. There's no other company does that. Is that a big deal? When you're getting big rail cars of ingredients come in, yeah, there's screens, there's sifters, there's different things in there. But you get a half a pellet from a Daisy BB gun, and if it goes through our wands in any one of those plants, it stops equipment right now. There's a guy with a little wand, and he can go and he can find that half a pellet in there to make sure that everything that's going into that bag of feed, whatever it is, there's no contaminants, there's no nothing, whatever. Again, quality control is a huge part. I'm going to talk about horse feeds here in a second. I mean, we got a lot of different feeds to get you from point A to point B. And I don't know, some people want to feed a sweet feed, some people don't want to feed a sweet feed, they want to feed a pellet, or they need complete feed, whatever. We're the only company in the world that has our own research facility. Our equine unit back in Gray Summit, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis, it's huge. It's got to be at least 500 acres. We've got some of the highest powered bred horses on that facility, from warm bloods to quarter horses to thoroughbreds to everything. And then we also do all the research with the Budweiser Clydesdales. So anytime we come out with any kind of new feed, it goes through at least 4 years of research and development. We've got some new stuff coming out this year. You know, they're usually pretty tight-lipped about what's coming out. I've got a pretty good idea what's coming, but they don't want to kind of break the news ahead of time. As soon as it comes out, hits a retailer, competitive feed companies go in and buy that bag of feed right away. They send samples off to go get it tested. They get the results back of what's in there. They got some fat guy sitting behind a desk, marketing. Okay, here's the ingredients, we put this, let's tweak this a little bit, we'll do this, here, cut back on this, whatever, here's a marketing program. 2 weeks, they've got something just as good as Purina, but it's cheaper and it's better. Oh, it's magical. Well, it takes us 4 years, but other feed companies, it takes them 2 weeks. So again, we put a lot of thought, because whatever we wind up coming out with, we want to make sure that we're getting the right products for the right need into your hands, whatever it is. Okay, I'm going to kind of keep going about the horse feed here a little bit. So we've got the pelleted feed, we've got the sweet feeds, and we've got complete feeds. Okay, a lot of people, when I start talking about, you know, the sweet feeds, they start getting twisted up a little bit. You know, I can't even give my horse a cup of water, John, he gets hot. Well, we've got patents on our molasses, and it's kind of killed the feed industry because they haven't been able to copy it. We've taken about 80% of the sugars out and increased the fat levels. So all of our feeds, including the sweet feeds, they're going to be really good energy, but they're not high in sugar. It's like you got kids, grandkids, whatever, 8:30 at night, before they're getting ready to go to bed, you give them a Snickers bar. Here you go, eat this before you go to bed. Well, what are the odds? They're going to get hot and crazy, bouncing off the ceiling. I still go to a lot of different events, and it amazes me. I see people out there for hours before they go, you know, they're getting ready to show. They're roping or they're galloping around the track, whatever. What are you guys doing? Oh, she's hot. I got to take the edge off. Put the horse back in the stall, go back to the hotel, and get your butt on a treadmill. It's not the horse that's hot and crazy. It's you. Get the energy out of you guys. So again, all of our feeds are going to give you good energy, but it's not going to be that hot energy. It's going to be a very good controllable energy. In the back of these brochures, I've got a lot of the feeds where it actually shows the starch and sugar levels. We're one of the only companies that, you know, publishes that. I can even get more information dialed in more on our website, and we can even get into technical papers if you really kind of want to get down and dirty and nitty-gritty on different things. Okay, the other thing, we've got a patent, we've got an ingredient in a lot of our premium feeds called amplified, and so that's our fat source. So the amplified, you can also buy that by itself as a top dress. And I have a lot of people that are needing to get that conditioned bloom shine, that top line back on that horse, that I'll put them on a feed and then also top dress with a lot of the amplified. Your rice bran, best case, and as long as it's stabilized, best case scenario, it's maybe 72% digestible and equine. A little bit higher in starch, not bad, but you have some palatability issues. 72%, hey, that's not a bad number. You can go to Costco, buy a 5-gallon bucket of corn oil, vegetable oil, dump that on your horse's feed. Vegetable corn oil, maybe in a real low 80% digestibility, but again, then you get palatability issues. Some of these horses just, they're not going to hear about eating oil on top of their horse feed. Some will. You get into soil, hey, you know, that's maybe in the mid 80% digestibility. You know, that's a pretty good number. A little bit more expensive if you're going out and buying jugs of it, whatever. But again, mid 80s not bad. Our Amplify nugget, we've got patents on it. And again, that's another thing that all these feed companies are trying to copy. 98% digestible. It's a blended fat. It comes from flax, soy, rice, and palm. So just about everything you put in the front door, they're able to break down and utilize. You have very little pass-through. Even if you take a handful of Amplify and you just give them a handful, it's highly, highly palatable. They'll eat it. So even if you've got halter horses or whatever type of horses you have, if you've got them under blanket and heat lamps and whatever, and they've got a stellar hair coat, you try to Amplify, I don't care what you're doing, give me a shot at least with the Amplify, and in 30 days, I can get those horses to rebloom. I don't care if they're shiny as a brand new nickel right now. In 30 days on Amplify, you're going to get that much more sheen, that much more bloom. You're going to help on a hair coat, the mane and the tail growth. The other thing that's nice is once I kind of get a lot of these horses on a complete diet, or at least I get Amplify into their diet, I do a lot of work down in Las Vegas. I got to be down there every couple of weeks. Oh, I hate it down there. But a lot of people, they've got their horses on sand, and it gets a little bit warmer down in Vegas than it does up in this market. Well, a lot of those folks down there, they're dealing with quarter cracks, brittle hooves, different things. You start putting the Amplify into the diet, and generally within about 50, 55 days, you're going to have your farrier come by. And you're going to all of a sudden say, what the heck's going on here? You've been hoof flexing every night. No, it's just the fat. You can actually start, 30 days you'll see the coat start to really, really, really shine. 50, 55 days you'll start seeing those hooves starting to dark up. It's that oil coming through the system, and it's starting to get into the hooves. Am I going to send them to alleviate all those quarter cracks or get rid of them all? No, but I can probably hit a good 90, 95%. So again, I'm going to start on the sweet feeds, our Omaline lineup. We've got 5 now. For a long time, we only had 3. But hey, that wasn't enough, so hey, more the merrier. Got one kind of design for whatever you're after. And again, a lot of people, they want to feed that sweet feed. Low sugar, low starch. If they open that bag and it's, oh, look at it, it's just so nice. They want to take a handful and take it to the house and pour cream on it and eat it themselves. It just looks nice. The only 100 is if you've got those pasture potatoes or lawn ornaments that you're not doing anything with. I mean, they're just there, they're enjoying life, they're doing whatever. Very, very low calorie diet. It's got the Amplify in it, but you can keep that hair, skin coat really, really nice, good vitamin mineral pack. But again, it's lower in calories. You're going to get into the Omaline 200. That's kind of a really good all-around diet, and it's actually used by a lot of people as a performance-type feed. That's going to be up around 1,500 calories per pound. It's got a more aggressive vitamin mineral pack. It's a little bit higher in Amplify. And again, you're about 1,500 calories, not hot calories, but a lot of people, especially in the rodeo world, the English world, they really kind of wind up gravitating to the 200. The 300 is for mom and a baby, you know, and I've got a lot of different feeds for mom and a baby, you know, pelleted feed only, for our only 300. That's kind of designed for, you know, those mares that are in gestation, lactation, you know, that first year of that baby's life, you know, keep on only 300 if that's what you want to do. That's what that only is really designed for. You get into the 400, that's got a lot more beet pulp in it. A lot of folks in the endurance world really kind of like the Only 400. It's about 80% beet pulp. You don't have to mix water. You open a bag and just feed it. It's got an Amplify, very aggressive vitamin mineral pack, but with the extra beet pulp in there, it kind of helps keep these horses hydrated a little bit more. It's so amazing. Year after year, the cases of allergies in these horses, it's like, I don't know where it's going. You know, the coughs or the hives or whatever. Got a lot of veterinarians that go to the Onlene 400 because we've got to pull that roughage out of them. Onlene 400 can be fed as a sole ration if really, really needed. Very seldom it's ever done. But if you've got those horses that do have some skin conditions, you know, they've got the heaves or the coughs or whatever, great product. Onlene 500, that's kind of designed for our high-end performance type horses, you know, that are really, really going hard. We've got, again, that's a little bit higher in the fat. We do have a product called Ultium. It's a pelleted feed. It's got a lot of stuff added. It's designed for the competition horse. But a lot of the folks in the English world didn't want to feed the Ultium because they thought it was a cowboy feed. So that's what we kind of came out with the Onlene 500. Hey, you guys now got your sweet feed, kind of whatever. So it's got added amino acids to help with the muscle recovery, different things in there. That's kind of our sweet feed lineup. We get into the pelleted feed. So we kind of really, one of the ones that I go to all the time is a product called Strategy. It's been around forever in 5 days. Worst thing we ever did with the Strategy, we didn't make it complicated enough. A lot of people really want to have a complicated feed program. They do. You know, I go into some facilities. I've been in facilities in this valley here, and my God, the magic foo-foo dust and the snake oil, and the jugs and the jars, and it's this. I mean, you got to be some kind of a rocket scientist to feed one horse, and it takes them probably an extra 30 minutes to scoop of this and scoop of that, a squirt of this, and I mean, it's crazy. Strategy, it's a pelleted feed, it's flavor enhanced with anise, so you open a bag up, it smells like licorice. Strategy is a product that was originally designed for the commercial application. Got a lot of folks using that as a performance horse feed too. You're about 1,450 calories per pound. Very, very concentrated. So, I mean, you got a horse that's looking pretty good, pretty fit. I've got a lot of guys, you know, maybe 1,000-pound horse are feeding maybe 2 pounds of that per head per day. You know, not a whole lot. It's not like you're really chunking it to them. That'll work, again, on everything on a ranch except when we get into those geriatric situations. You know, you get those older guys that are losing their teeth, their digestive system's shutting down. Then we kind of really need to talk about like an equine senior. I'll get into that here in a minute. But strategy is nice because, again, it can be used for the pasture potatoes, the performance horses, the maintenance horses, the boarding horses, whatever. I like that product because it's probably one of our more economical products to use. It's a very easy product to use. Even if you've got those mares in gestation or lactation, hey, I've got so many folks using the Strategy because there's so much skeletal growth going on the last 3 months of that baby's life, and then even when they hit the ground, that first 6 months. Hey, you can start creep feeding those babies and keep those babies on that Strategy all the way through, if you so choose. We've got another strategy called Healthy Edge. So we've got a lot of folks, they just want to feed as a treat. You know, oh, I got to get them in, or I got to put one of my magic foo-foo dust or snake oils, I want to mix it in something that he'll eat it with. So the Strategy Healthy Edge is actually an 8% fat, and we've kind of ramped up the vitamin mineral pack a little bit more. It's still about pretty close to 1,500 calories per pound. Maybe it might be a little bit more, but again, there's so many folks out there that aren't feeding close to the recommended or the recommendations. You know, they're feeding it as a treat. We wanted to get more fat and more vitamin and mineral into the system. And kind of while I'm on that note, a lot of our feed bags, well, all of our feed bags are a national feed bag. They got to be the same bag, coast to coast, border to border. Out here on the West Coast, the recommendations on these feed bags, I don't care what Purina horse feed you're feeding, they're generally about 20-25% high. Why is that? You go back to Texas, you can look at it, they're good forage, might be an 8%. They got just grasses and their hays are horrible. We have to make sure as a company that we're meeting or exceeding the nutritional requirements of these horses coast to coast. Out here, our foragers are off the chart. If anything, the calcium phosphorus is a little bit whacked out, high in protein, but we're feeding good forage, whether it's an alfalfa or it's a grass alfalfa, straight grass, whatever. If you feed the recommendations on the bag, you're going to get porky pig pretty quick. So we can cut them back. So those are kind of my two pellet feeds that I kind of really go to. Well, actually, Ultium, and I've got that's our competition feed. That's about 1,900 calories per pound. It's about 11.75% fat. It's got added amino acids in there. So it will help with muscle recovery. It helps stimulate blood flow. It does have some deep pulse in there, so it kind of helps these horses stay hydrated a little bit. You can get the Ultium with a product or by itself, or we've also got Ultium competition with the gastric care. I'll talk about our gastric care here in a minute. You can, even our strategies now and our only lineup has the Outlast in it. I'll get into Outlast. Outlast is a product we came out with 2 or 3 years ago. And when we came out with it, it's basically the roll aids for the horse. You guys are feeding GastroGuard, GastroCare, whatever, trying to get that into the horses. It's very, very expensive. Some of those horses just don't want to eat it. So again, we came out with a product called Outlast. It's got higher magnesium. It's not going to cure the ulcers, but it's going to soak up all that acid, get the pHs and everything in the gut right. They will eat it right out of your hand. You can buy Outlast. I don't have a bag of it here, but you can buy it separate. But now, every year we're doing more and more research, so it's going into a lot more of our feeds. I've got a lot of our folks that I work with, especially high-end horses, whatnot, they're feeding one of the feeds with the Outlast already in it, whether it's a strategy or only. But a lot of guys like going down the road with a bag of Outlast. We've got Outlast treats now. I'll get into that in a second. So a lot of these folks, when they're going to a high-end event, whether they're getting ready to run, they're getting ready to jump, whatever they're getting ready to do, they got Trigger at the trailer. And again, he's already on a diet that's got the Outlast in there. And those horses, they get to an event, they get a little bit worked up. Well, when they're saddling, they'll give them a handful of Outlast, because if there's that much acid left in the belly, if we can get this 100% right, man, you got them so much better in the head. And I mean, that much, acid, it might not even be that bad. But the Outlast will stay in the system for up to 7 hours. We just came out with these a couple of weeks ago. So now instead of bringing a bag of Outlast, or if you're endurance riding and you're carrying Outlast going over the hill, we got the horse treats now. So instead of giving them a handful of Outlast, you can give them maybe 3 or 4 cookies, a little palatable, got the Outlast in it, away you go. Yep.
What is Outlast comprised of?
It's got magnesium. In fact, did you get one of the brochures?
Yeah.
I think I got the right brochure. We've got we actually own an island off of New Zealand, Land Lake Spot Island, where there's we found and came up with a magnesium source off this island that is completely different than anywhere else on the planet. So it's very, very high in magnesium. It's kind of like the Tums, kind of like the Rolaids. It's got some sea kelp in there that helps adjust the pH balance in the system. When we came out with Outlast 3 years ago, a lot of people just laughed because it can't work. It's not expensive enough. It's just it won't work. It won't, because they've been buying semi-loads of GastroGuard and all the other stuff. My thoroughbred ranch I was just talking about here a little bit ago, where some horses were killed about 2-3 years ago. Terry Knight, head trainer. I mean, he's big in the Kentucky Derby world. Wouldn't try it, didn't want to hear about it, nothing whatsoever. Anyway, I guess it was here, maybe the tail end of last year. I kept working on it. Just give me 5 of the worst ones you got. Just pull them off the GastroGuard, and they were buying semi-loads of that stuff. Just pull them off and give me your 5 worst. Well, he calls me up one day. I didn't know he did it. And he said, I can't figure it out. I know you've been hounding on me for 2 years here with this Outlast crap. I finally tried it on 5 of the horses because I wanted to be able to call you up and tell you what a lion sack of garbage you are, whatever. They've got an exact duplicate of Santa Anita Racetrack on their ranch, and they breeze and run those horses every day. He's now getting quicker run times with these 5, the worst ones he had. And he said, I can't figure it out. I pulled him off the gas regard. We don't have to fight him. We don't have to do this, do that. Boom, quicker run times. Life is good. Now he's got his whole facility switched onto it. And again, that's why we're putting a lot of that outlast now into the feed, different things. Last year at National Finals Rodeo, that was my 20th year I run NFR for the company. Every single horse, the entry horses, all the contestants' horses, there was even stock contractors had their bucking horses on outlast. Those guys will feed some pretty weird stuff, or not weird stuff, but I mean, they'll feed up. But there was a lot of folks there last year sponsored by other feed companies. Outlast was going into those horses. They were still feeding other feed, but Outlast was going to their horses because, I mean, it's working. It's so simple, and those horses will eat it. And it's not something you got to try today and wait a week to figure out if it's working. You wait till you go to an event, and you know Trigger's getting wound up. He's ready to go, and you haven't had him scope, but you know there's maybe a chance he's maybe ulcer prone, maybe he got some whatever. You give him that handful of Outlast before he's getting ready to go, and within 15 to 20 minutes, you can just see that calm look come into his eye because we've soaked up all that acid. We've got his gut under control. He's feeling good, and away you go. Any of you guys ever get acid reflux or heartburn or indigestion? You can do what you're going to do without the Rolaids or the Tums, can't you? But it's
Well, I keep a big bottle of Tums.
I got the supersize in every truck, beside the bedside table. But it seems like I'm always out in the middle of nowhere, and, you know, for whatever reason, I wind up getting, you know, the indigestion. Well, I can get through it, but I'm not real happy about getting through it because it's eating on me. Well, it's the same as these horses. We get this good, we got this great, and you're going to have a horse's performance just so much better. So the strategy, Healthy Edge, and the Ultium, those are kind of our pelleted feeds. Then we get into our kind of our complete feeds, which is going to be our equine junior, our equine adult, and our equine senior. Equine senior, been around forever in 5 days. We've got patents on that, on a pellet, different things. We've got a customer has a pony outside of St. Louis, Missouri. The pony used to be on the bag of equine senior. I think he turns 51 years old this year. Hadn't had a tooth in his head for over 15 years. He drinks equine senior twice a day. You take a handful of our equine senior, put it in a clear plastic cup, and take 10 other senior diets out there, do the same thing. Fill those cups full of water. 2.5 minutes, ours is fully dissolved. Come back 2.5 days later, these other ones are still holding their pellet form. Everything, and ours is the only one, everything in that equine senior has been pre-cooked. It's got a roughage built into it. You got that horse that you just, you know, he's old, he can't eat, can't do very well. Take a trash can, put it in the corner of the stall, and take a whole 50-pound bag of equine senior and dump it in there. They cannot overeat the equine senior. They will not founder. I've got so many folks that are feeding out as a sole ration, veterinarians, horses that come to a colic surgery or maybe a little bit more colic prone. That's usually what I'm going to kind of wind up going to as the equine senior. Because again, we can add a little bit of water. Wintertime, you add some hot water. It turns into a mash like right now for those older guys, works really well. Kind of get into our equine junior. You know, if we've got some skeletal growth problems kind of going on, I need to go in and really back off on the roughage. We can kind of get into the equine junior, get a hold of that diet. Or if you're feeding a roughage, hey, that's another product. It's got a built-in roughage into it. It's not recommended that it be fed as a sole ration. We want good forage. But again, just the way it's designed to help those babies grow. So that's another option. Strategy only 300, equine junior, or we've actually got an Ultium growth if you're really kind of trying to push those babies hard. Equine adult, hey, it's a great product. I mean, I don't know. It's a little bit pricier. It works really, really good. But I think a person's better off going with one of the onlys or going with one of the strategies. That's just me. And that's been around for a long, long time too. You got those real super easy keepers. I'm bouncing around. I had too much coffee today. You got some of those horses that just, they get fat. If they look at a pickle, they get fat. So I've got a product called the Enrich Plus. It's basically a concentrated vitamin mineral pack. It's on a 1,000-pound horse, maybe a pound per head per day. That's it. They'll eat it right out of your hand. It is highly, highly palatable. It's a product that's been designed to round up your roughage and really balance that stuff out. So those are kind of a real quick down and dirty on the feeds. Then, yes, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about Super Sport?
Okay.
Sorry.
Then I'm going into our supplements. And, Purina is not a supplement company. So Super Sport, awesome product. Again, we don't advertise it enough. So you've got those horses, and hey, it may be something you may, wind up trying today. So we've done a lot of research from like the Olympic athletes, the bodybuilding world. We've got whey proteins in there. We've got added amino acids. You can really, really get some nice, lean muscle mass on these horses if you're needing it. Not the big, gaudy Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. No steroids, no nothing. But anyone that I put on Super Sport, please, 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 day one, find a place up alongside your barn, whatever. Take a side shot, take a back shot, and take a front shot. And then don't look at those pictures, put them on a Super Sport, whatever. Come back in 30 days, do the same thing. It's really amazing the tone and the definition you can wind up getting. I've got a lot of people that will use the Super Sport that don't want to hear about any of my horse feeds. They're feeding Ted's horse feed or Billy Bob's horse feed. Hey, that's fine. They add the Super Sport on top of that. Again, it's going to help with that muscle recovery. It's going to get that lean muscle mass, so it'll work on just about anything. And it is an amazing product, how quick you can start getting that tone. Yep.
I just wanted to add to that a little bit. I know one of the reasons I had you cover it is I've had a lot of veterinarians recommend that supplement for horses that have muscle disorders,
yep,
as well as like obviously PSSM, metabolic disorders, that kind of thing. And I've had one or two horses on it. It's changed everything.
It is, and it changes relatively quick. Mm-hmm. Now, if you got those horses that are like medical conditions, like whatever, we do have a product called Wellsol LS, low starch. And actually the Veterinarian Trade Reference Journal, feed companies, we can't go to them and give them $1 million. Hey, here's a feed, publish it in your magazine. No. They're going to take, when they decide they're going to take something, and they're not only going to take it, they're going to tear it apart. And they're going to find all the weaknesses, the downfalls, whatever, the holes in it, whatever. Wellsol LS is the only feed that's ever been published in the Veterinarian Trade Reference Journal. And they did rip on it. They actually found a little lower, they did blood work prior, during, and after a feeding. And they were actually getting lower glucose responses during the feeding than they were getting prior or after. So that is absolutely, there's nothing. And everyone's tried to copy that. But there's nothing lower starch on the planet. It's got the good vitamin mineral pack. So you do have those medical conditions. That works great. And then we can also add, top dress, a little bit of the amplifier if we're needing some shine, some bloom, or the Super Sport to it. So let's see, we've got the amplify, I kind of talked about that, because I do have a lot of people. Let's get that condition. Sandy, I hate to bother you. Do you have that before and after picture of that can chaser? So a lot of times, it's really, this is what's really nice, because I can give you guys a bunch of feed today. I can't give you a $3 off coupon, because we don't do that. But even if I give you a $3 off or a free bag coupon for coming today, hey, okay, you have the free bag coupon, you're probably going to go maybe try. But is that going to give you a good idea of whatever you're doing? When I go on to a ranch, I like coming to the ranch, small, big, whatever. I don't want your good guys. So I don't know if you can see this. This is a gal I work with down in Las Vegas. High-end barrel horse. Okay, this is day one, and this is the same horse. She sent that picture to me right at 30 days. Okay, I put her on Strategy Healthy Edge. I got a jillion of these. And I don't know, maybe, I think it's kind of pretty good transformation. This horse is freaking nuts. I mean, you talk about high strung. I mean, and she wins a lot of money on this horse. And, you know, I mean, she's blowing and going pretty hard. But we're just lacking a lot. Had a totally different feed program, using different fats. Pulled her off of everything, Strategy Healthy Edge, I think for the first 30 days. I had her up to about 6 pounds. Now I think she's on a maintenance program, she's only getting 3 pounds. But then also right away, what I had her doing is I had her adding a pound of Amplify in the morning and a pound of Amplify at night. And then also top dressing a little bit of Super Sport. So 30 days, I mean, it just darkened that horse up. It brought that top line. I got the digits here on the rib cage cover, and I mean, she's still blowing and going, and we got way better gut and muscle definition on it. So we've got the Amplify, we've got the Super Sport. I'm missing one.
Enrich?
Yeah, well, yeah, the Enrich, if you got Porky Pig, we can kind of do that. But those are kind of our main ones. So I know I kind of blew through this and I bounced kind of all over like a Mexican jumping bean. Let me get into you guys so I don't hang you guys up all day. And you guys got questions or whatever, or we can kind of get into what you've got. I can get you filled out and get you out of here.
Well, I wrote the information on 5 of the difficult ones.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are pretty simple, but we used to use Purina a long time ago, and some things changed, and I think some time back, and I don't remember the year, but there was quite a challenge with buying it someplace, because there were certain radius that you could only have a Purina distributor within a certain distance, and this particular distributor wouldn't carry the products you wanted, and you had to go, and it just got to be a pain, and so we have a lot of practice with Purina. Okay. But we can go over all these individually later, but I'm very curious about the Outlast again, because we have a horse, a pony, that you start working him and he starts squirting. That's just what he does. It shows he's an S. Yeah. He has to be on GastroGuard at a show. So I'm very curious. Rolaids is obviously just a symptom relief,
Right.
Versus like a probiotics, if you could really get into them and help them. Does the Outlast have anything like that?
No probiotics, no nothing. Okay. I am not going to stand here and tell you, hey, you've had your horse, pony, whatever, scope, man, he's got 15 ulcers, just bleeding, squirting blood, it's just horrible. No, that's why a lot of our feeds, what we're doing is, I don't want to say we're taking the homeopathic approach, but a lot of our feeds now on a day in, day out basis, okay, if we can keep that acid under control every day where it's not building up, you're working these horses at home, okay, even still when we go to the show, you've got a feed that you've got this pony on, you're feeding them. I still like to feed that little handful because, hey, it's like a hunting dog, it's like whatever. They know they're getting ready to rock and roll, they're getting ready to do something. You're schooling them hard at home, but hey, new environment, new whatever. I've got folks using Outlast because they can't get their horses down the road. I mean, they pull them, they get 500 miles down the road, drop the door, they pull them out there like a drawn up rattlesnake. You know, got to pull out the banamine, pull out this, pull out everything. They're not worried about nothing else. It's just getting down the road. I got a lot of folks seeing that.
He starts getting that way when he sees the trailer.
So the big thing is a lot of our feeds are now, and there's going to be more coming this year that are going to start. That's the only way you're going to be able to get it is with Outlast. Because if we can keep that acid and the pHs and everything under control every day at home, day in, day out, okay, it's the acids, everything that's going to start aggravating those ulcers. Okay, without all the acid in the gut, okay, now we've got a chance for those ulcers and everything to start self-healing. You know, they're going away. Get to the event, okay, Hey, some horses may need that extra little handful of the Outlast. Some horses are perfectly fine because we've got enough into that system. But I don't know, the probiotics, we're still doing a lot of research. The horse's digestive system, I don't know, whoever designed it way back when must have been on a coffee break or something. Say, half the time I think a chicken's got a better digestive system. I mean, the cases of colic, coast to coast, border to border on a year-round basis, I mean, there's more incidences of colic from people that, they're buying their forage on a weekly basis. Changes of hay get these horses to colic, some of them get colic. The selective digestive points in the equine it's a small window. So again, I see these people feeding all this magic foo-foo dust and snake oil and a concentrated feed and everything else. One of two things happens. You create so much competition for those selective digestive points, sometimes they can start over-absorbing, and in some situations, very, very rare, you can create toxic levels. But a lot of times, there's so much competition, all that stuff's moving through the system, you bypass where that stuff's supposed to be absorbed, and it's going right out the back door.
So, speaking of competition for digestion, what is then Purina's recommendation as far as the grains? I'm just lumping this everything into grains versus forage. So you feed the forage, let that work for 4 hours, feed them the grains, feed them the forage. What's kind of the recommended process in order to optimize what you're talking about?
Well, okay, so, the horses they're a grazer. I mean, they're going to graze 20 hours a day. I mean, ultimately, hey, if we could take the time and keep forage in front of these horses 24 hours a day and feed them a concentrated ration 8 times a day, man, that would be an ideal world. Does anyone live in that ideal world? I don't know. Even if you just won $20 million in the lottery and you're sitting at home every day, you're not going to do it. I mean, I've got a lot of folks that'll feed 3 times a day. I've got probably a good majority that'll feed morning and night, but then I've got a lot of folks, hey, they're blowing and going, they're only going to feed once a day. So, I mean, we've taken these horses out of a natural environment over a long period of time, put them in natural environments, stalls, small traps, pens, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, if we can keep something in front of them all day long, but then a lot of these horses, you get into the boredom issue. So they're going to stand there, you put, 4 flakes of hay. Now all of a sudden, they're getting a big hay belly on. No, we don't want that. We're going to come out with a horse tub. I mean, I know that there's horse tubs, horse licks out there. Okay, it's probably going to be maybe another couple of months before it comes out. I mean, one of the big things that we've really done a lot of research on is horse tub. And yes, that horse tub will be made in an ionophore-free plant. Everything else is where they're making cow tubs, making whatever. But a big part of that tub, it's got fly control in it. I know you can go out and buy feed-through fly controls right now. Okay, we've done a lot of research. Central Life Sciences is one of the biggest fly control companies on the planet. We're hand in hand on the research. These feed-through fly controls, you've got these high-end performance horses. That stuff's breaking down in the system. It can aggravate those ulcers. Our feed-through fly control, it is in the horse tub. It's going in the front door. They're going to lick it. It's going out the back door. It's got an attractant. It's killing flies in the manure. It's going to draw the flies to the manure. It's probably going to be maybe about a 20-day period where you can completely break that cycle of flies. Consumption on a 1,000-pound horse, what they're seeing right now is about 5 ounces per head per day. So I think for a lot of these horses, hey, the guys that are cribbers, I don't know if it's going to get rid of that, but I think a lot of times these horses start cribbing because they're bored, they're looking for whatever. We're going to be able to put a horse tub out. But to your point, Purina's standpoint, yeah, if we could feed them 8 times a day, it would be great, but we can't. Even if you're only feeding once, it'd be good to be able to get forage into them twice a day. You're throwing hay out or whatever. It'd be nice to be able to get a concentrated ration into them twice a day. Just so, we're not gut loading them. There's more of a chance they can break everything down, utilize what we're putting into them. Again, the nice thing with a lot of the Purina products is everything is so concentrated, we're not throwing high amounts. So the chances of what we're putting into them, we're going to meet or exceed their needs. You know, if it's 2 pounds per head today, if you've got a good conditioned horse, you've got a lot of performance horses, it's not a whole lot of feed. And it's like, John, that can't work. It's not enough. Well, it's concentrated. You can feed more, but you're going to start getting, too much bloom, too much fat, too much condition. We don't need to be feeding 3-4 pounds. So again, small amounts. If you're feeding a pound in the morning, they're going to probably be able to utilize, break down, and absorb 90-95% of what's going into their system. Same thing at night.
I have lots of other food. Let's get.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Force me to break out my paper. Here, why don't I just let you have that, John? There's a total of 5 horses on there. We've got a bunch of others that are doing exceptionally well, but I'm hearing all the other things you're saying. So just in general, there's the pony in front. That.
So, okay, right here, so you're soaking a 1/4 cup of the flaxseed. Flaxseed is a product, is it ground flaxseed, is it whole flaxseed?
Whole flaxseed.
Okay, that's a product that's a little bit harder for these horses to digest. If you were to go out when you get home and take a manure sample, and then if you stole one of your kitchen strainers from the house or whatever,
I know where you're going.
and you broke it down, you're going to see a lot of flaxseed in that manure because they just have a harder time breaking it down. So in our amplifier, okay, we know a lot of people really like feeding the flax because, you know, bloom, shine, whatever.
Right.
The way that we've designed that amplify is it's a ground flaxseed and then we derive oil from that. So again, between the palm, the rice, the flax, and the soy,
Right.
the bloom, the shine. So this guy right here, I would alleviate that. And then I'd also, if he's getting loose when you're getting ready to work on him, okay, I think that the Outlast, whatever one of the feeds we are. I mean, he looks really good.
He is really good, and he does just fine. It's just as soon as you start asking something of him, and like I said, as soon as he sees the trailer, he's going, oh shit, I'm going to the horse show.
So there's one guy I work with in Wilton. He's got world champion halter horses, big soggy cows, and he's hauling all over the country.
Right.
Okay, yeah, he's got feeds that he's feeding at home with it, but he's one of the main guys. I mean, you can't go a mile down the road. He's got a couple of mares that he throws in the trailer, and man, I mean, they are just horrible. A lot of my PRCA contestants that are living on the road. They go 4 hours down the road, drop the door, hey, how you guys doing? Here's a couple of horse cookies. There you go. So I think Outlast could wind up, because what we're really getting is in that the acids are starting to build up. You know, and I don't want anyone you're getting ready to go to a show this weekend. I don't want you making any changes before this weekend. I got to be politically correct. Whatever feeds I get you guys on, I'd like you to try and transition over a 7-day period. Now, if you don't want to hear about any of my feeds, just to Outlast, I'd go home and start feeding Outlast right now.
I wouldn't still be sitting here if we want to hear him.
Well, I'm being, I guess my way of sarcastic and again, too much coffee this morning.
Yeah.
But the Outlast, whatever you're feeding,
No, I'm anxious.
you start feeding that right now.
He's a great pony. It's just this.
But what I'd like you to do, and again, if you're showing whatever, as long as you're not going to an event, I pull them off the gastro-card. If you got any kind of ulcer medication, and pull them off, transition them, you'll see right away. You'll see. And look, I mean, I'm going to give you a bunch of free outlets. I'm going to give you guys a bunch of free feed to go home and try. Hey, you might get it home. Your horse might like the color of the bag. Got a neighborhood cows, feed it to him. All I want is in 30 and 60 days, an honest feedback. Hey, John, man, this worked great. Or John, you're too high strung at a meeting. Don't come to my ranch, but your products work good. Sandy and Jason are going to carry your products. And they're going to carry anything and everything. You guys got dolphins in a swimming pool in the backyard, they can get it. They'll have it. I don't think they'll have it in stock. The other nice thing with these guys is all my Purina dealers, I got frustrations with some of these guys. I am legally not allowed to go into a Purina dealer and tell them how much to sell that feed for. I've got guys trying to make $10, $12 on a bag of feed, and it's like, whatever. These guys here, they understand the volume, what they're doing with their head. So I think you're going to find, you guys shop Tractor Supply, you'll see some of the products down there. I think they're going to be able to undercut Tractor Supply because they're not trying to make it on an individual, they're trying to make it on the overall. I told them, as soon as you guys get going, this is going to get out of control here. They're thinking, oh, maybe 10 ton a month. And my small dealers are doing 10 ton a month. You're probably going to be, well, by summer, you're probably going to be doing full semi-loads every week. So he's going to have it. He's going to have trucks every week. So it's going to be convenient. It's going to be right here in the valley.
I'm anxious to this outlast because we've got other show horses that are on the verge of that type of a thing, where my daughter has one of her Hanoverian mares that she feeds peppermint Tums. It doesn't like generic Tums. It doesn't like the generic version. It doesn't like the tutti-frutti ones. It likes peppermint Tums. And she has to do that occasionally at shows. So I'm thinking, yeah.
So if you're feeding a competitive product that doesn't, it's not going to have that last. Okay, you get a 1,000-pound horse. If you're going to give him some of these for it to effectively work, you're probably talking about 9 to 10 cookies. If you're feeding my product on a weekly, it's got it. You've already got it in the system, you're talking 3 or 4. Easy. And these are highly, highly, highly palatable. So they'll eat them. I don't care how stressed out they are. And this white dude, same thing. I mean, I would definitely, we're going to get you either on a mini horse and pony, or we'll get you on a strategy healthy edge.
Flip first page over.
Sorry. Okay. 13-year-old Aaron. Okay. So I'm looking at the pictures, okay, right away. Okay, I don't know how long ago you took these pictures, but even these horses got these 3-inch long grizzly bear haircoats in the wintertime, no blankets or whatever. 30 days, you can start seeing that amplify, the fat starting to leach through. I can even get these guys shining. Okay, this guy, looking at this picture, I'm not liking it at all.
I don't either. And he gets worked every day. He gets tons of food, and he just will not pull that up. So I was hearing which one of these guys said top line.
So
I'm taking notes.
This guy here, I think is a great candidate for the strategy healthy edge. And then what I'm going to also have you do on this one here is we're going to pour the amplified to this horse heavy for the first 3 weeks. And if any of you guys are top dressing with the amplified, I tell everyone, you're there every single day. If I got you top dressing a pound and a pound in the morning, pound at night, you need to start watching in 3 weeks, because that top line is going to come back real quick. And you either need to, we're going to need to back that amplify off, or we're going to need to pull them completely off the amplify. Otherwise, they're going to be catching rainwater in the crease of their back. I mean, it does. It just, I mean, that's where it's not going to go to the gut. You're going to get the rib cage, dock of the tail, hip, around the wither. So that's going to get, and I'm going to have you feed a higher amount of strategy healthy edge, for the first 30 days. Let's get this horse where you walk out on your back porch in the morning and you look out and it's like, man, my guys are looking good.
He also gets very nasty allergies during the summer on his legs. The bites, the chews, the garbage. And then you mentioned one of these back here, something about allergies.
So we've got the only 400. Now, are they?
Yes. What was it? 400 allergies.
Are they hives? What are we getting going on? Or is it from the flies eating on them?
The flies love him. Flies absolutely love him. They devour him.
See, because usually we're the only 400 is going to work. Some of these horses you give alfalfa hay, they're going to get hives, but they're going to be more up over the body, the neck, kind of right here above the girth area.
He gets eaten everywhere. My daughter took him up to Oregon The day we got there, because he has the Arabian skin, very tight skin, blood vessels, very prominent. The day we got there, that evening, all of a sudden he starts turning around and snapping at his belly. And I look underneath there, and right along that vein, he's got mosquito bites or fly bites, just bam, 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 bam. And love him. And so that's why I was wondering whether the 400 would do anything for the allergies.
I don't think in this case, if the flies are eating on him, I don't know if the Onling 400 is going to be the choice for you. Because, I mean, once a fly's bitten, you've got bacteria, you've got different things in there. The Onling 400 is really going to help with the respiratory, the dry heaves, the coughs.
Okay.
With the added beet pulp, we can cut back on the forages, or, I mean, some folks got to go to the extent where they got to.
Well, so he's not tolerant of alfalfa, which is, he eats probably 80% of the hay that we buy here.
You see, the thing that I would love to try on this horse, and again, it might be a month. It's already done my horse test. It's all done. It's all now marketing. They're trying to figure out how to get a spec sheet together, and it's going to be out in a month. I'm probably going to wind up getting 2 tons of those. They're a 60-pound round tub. They've got a lid on them, so easy to move. It's not like it's a big cow tub. I'm probably going to get 2 tons of those. I would love to get some of those over here to have some of you guys try them.
Those are the tubs you were talking about for the flies?
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be about the right time.
That caught my ear because, man, last year the flies were so bad. I don't know what it was, but it was ridiculous. And my wife is looking at Amazon because one of the girls that came over to the house said that there's some kind of little gnat or something that will kill and eat the flies, and you let them free. And I'm like, well, I don't buy that shit yet because you don't know exactly what it is.
So
we're putting one little critter into another critter.
There's some of these feed through fly controls, but if you got those performance horses, we're testing. They can aggravate those ulcers. Purina's got the technology on all our different products. We can determine what part of what animal, whatever we're trying to put into them, where it's going to break down, or whether it's going to go all the way through the system. So we've taken a lot of the technology we use in our cattle tub, because it's a feed-through Alticid fly control, goes all the way through the cow system, and it stays in there way longer than a horse. It winds up in a manure. 21 days, you don't got a fly on the property. And there ain't nothing on the planet worse than a blood-sucking horn fly. I mean, they create more damage than anything. But even with that, with the attractant in there, you can start drawing those flies from the barn, from the other horses, to that manure. The thing with the horn flies, they're a relatively weak fly, and you guys probably don't have, unless you got cattle at home, your horses probably aren't going to really be bothered by the horn flies. They're predominantly on a cow, and they're probably going to wind up staying on that one cow for its entire life. They're not going to fly very far because they're a weak fly. When that cow drops mud, that horn fly's got maybe about 3 minutes to leave that cow, hit that fresh patty, lay eggs, and then leave. And it's going to normally, that cow ain't going to move very far. It's going to go back to that same cow. Once that manure glazes over, that horn fly can't lay eggs. And your barn flies, house flies, horse flies, whatever, they're a stronger fly. They'll fly 1.5 miles. They got no problem. Again, that's why we got an attractant in there. Ooh, hey, Trigger just dropped some apples. Boom, they start coming in. We've done extensive research, and again, it's about from the time you get that tub out to the time it breaks the cycle on all the flies. It's about 20 days. You ain't going to have a fly in the property.
And that's nice because if you do proper manure management and you're taking it to somewhere else on the property, you're essentially almost taking the flies away from them.
Yeah, because if you Trigger's dropping apples here, and you got a manure pile way over there, it's bringing them over there. But within generally 20 some odd days, I mean, it's broke the cycle of the flies. So you're not going to have flies on the property. I mean, I can't. They've been after us for so long just to come out with a horse tub, but now we've got finally the horse tub with a fly control. This is going to be wicked. And again, I'd love to get some of those as soon as a month. I'd love to get them out. And you don't have to worry about cross-contamination. And even you got that pickle head that's gonna stand there and chew on that fence all day just to irritate you, because you'll look, he's gonna chew on the fence and look at the houses, he's gonna look and I'm gonna chew more, or chew on a tractor, or whatever. They will not overconsume that tub. I mean, I don't know how Purina found them, but they found some that they're just gonna plow through whatever. 1,000-pound horse, maybe about 5 ounces per head per day, over a 24-hour period. And again, the flies are gone. So this guy, I don't know if the Only 400 is the right product. I want to try.
That's the other guy.
That's that one.
Yeah,
Okay.
400.
I want to try to get fly tubs, all you guys,
Yeah.
when they come out.
Yeah. The one on the